Hello, Dackland Radio. This is the Old Man of the Adirondacks, your host of Campfire Tales. I'm sitting out here on Graham's porch. It is Saturday, May 26th. It is also Memorial Day weekend. I sure hope that you guys take a moment this weekend and remember those who died for our freedoms. They have my sincerest gratitude. Well, like I said, it's May 26th. I'm the Old Man of the Adirondacks. You can reach out to me at oldmanadk@gmail.com. And I also have a Facebook group called Old Man ADK. Now, my editor tends to refer to me as the grumpy old man. I'm not really sure how much I love that. Grumpy old man. I would like to give a shout out to all you Flatlanders coming into town. Thank you. Thank you for your support of this community. We appreciate it greatly. We would not be here without you. Thanks for coming to Speculator, or the region anyway. Yesterday I was at the camp store. Saw Casey and Katrina. And they said, hey, we got Adirondack Bakery stuff in here. Well, of course I had to try some. I had just a taste of the lemon cheesecake. Little personal size cheesecake. It was good. Really, really good. And I had a little piece of one of their homemade chocolate chip cookies. All very fresh. All very delicious. Camp store, Adirondack Bakery, both Old Man approved. I also brought my niece and nephew over to play some putt-putt mini golf, and I did not win, and I ended up having to buy ice cream for the kids afterwards. Camp store has a nice selection of ice cream. It's not soft serve, it's Hershey's sundaes that are prepackaged. I guess just prepackaged ice cream. But they certainly enjoyed it, and I enjoyed my time there. It's a little challenging 9-hole. It's certainly harder than it seems. Get out there and try it, guys, and get some stuff from Adirondack Bakery. Both of these places, Camp Store and Adirondack Bakery, can be found on Instagram or Facebook, I think. Good stuff. Good local stuff. Shop local, guys. That helps us out tremendously. Last week we started talking a little bit about tomfoolery and how he meant Daunchy, and how he meant Kong, and how Kong became his. And this week we're going to look into where Daunchy came from and where Kong came from. This isn't going to be a happy tale like the previous couple. There's very little humor, but anyway, I will just get to reading. I hope you guys enjoy it. I had some pretty severe writer's block this week, and I'm right down to the last minute trying to get this story put together for you guys. So, without further ado, this is Chapter 2. This is not a happy or humorous tale. There is no tomfoolery. There are no shenanigans. This is, in fact, a tragic story. Here we will learn about Daunchy and his hatchet Kong. There are no farts that I know of. There are no jokes, practical or otherwise. There is love and beauty, faith and family, but again, tragic. This tale may not tell the truth, but it is telling. It may not be true, but there are truths to be learned. This tale may be tall, but it is not short on lore. Da! Da! Yelled Daunchy enthusiastically. Wait up! Get your tookus moving, boy. Today is a big day for ya. Today was indeed a big day. The biggest, Daunchy thought. For today he was to forge his very own tool. He did not know yet what that tool would be. Every young'un looked forward to this day with great excitement. Each child on their 15th trip around the sun had to forge his own tool. Daunchy hopes his own tool will be a great sword to sweep away all of his foes, or maybe a nice double-bit axe, capable of both war and industry. Better yet, a shining spear, hunting on water or land, and a defensive tool for himself and his clan. All great choices if one's tool were a choice. The choice, however, was up to someone much greater than himself, greater than his pa even, who was the greatest in the history of his small tribe. It was a long and hard journey to the sacred forge of his tribe, located in a beautiful mountainous land abounding with both wildlife and water. Not many people knew of this beautiful land, fewer still the forge. Daunchy had heard tales from the elders of his village about this forge, its land beautiful, and the forge itself was simple yet full of mystery and wonder. His mind wandered as he trudged along behind his strong father. What if I get a silly tool, though? Daunchy thought to himself. What if it's a shovel or a hoe, destined to a life of labor rather than the glory he so desired? These thoughts put Daunchy in a rather dreary mood. This mood was visible to his father, for there was no longer a bounce in his son's step. What's got you down, boy? His father asked quietly. Waving his shaggy head to and fro, Daunchy glanced at his father. Walking beside him now, he mumbled, Just nerves, I guess. His da was very understanding, and better yet, very wise. He always knew when to draw near to his son. What if I don't get the tool I want? Daunchy asked. What if I end up with a tool for working soil or a small butcher's knife? There is no glory to be had in some tools. I was born for glory, like you, Da. Daunchy was just miserable at this point. Son, there is glory to be had in all of the tools. It is all about how well you learn your craft and how hard you are willing to work, his dad began. There is nothing to be had for free in this world. It is a hard and unforgiving life that we live. The sooner you learn this truth, the better you will be in the long run. With hard work and dedication to your tribe and trade, glory is there, son. Daunchy was comforted by his father's words and the touch of his strong arm now resting on his shoulders. Thanks, Da, he said quietly. Look, boy, there before them was the forge. It was in a shallow cave in the side of a small mountain. Daunchy could hear a plethora of small woodland creatures disturbing the otherwise silence in the distance. A pileated woodpecker was giggling as it flew from tree to tree looking for some lunch. Small songbirds chattered, and an angry red squirrel barked back at them. With a sense of urgency, Daunchy started for the cave. Wide-eyed, he entered the cave and took in his immediate surroundings. Dark and dank, with a small hole that seemed to be tooled at the top of the cave to allow the smoke from the forge's fire to exit. Next to the fire pit there was wood, hardwood mostly, with some pine mixed in to get the fire started. Then there was an anvil, ancient and magical. The handle for forging his tool was the only other thing in the cave, also ancient, also magical. "This is your time, son. Make me proud," Daunchy heard his pa say from just outside the small cavern, for tradition dictated that only the child could enter to forge their tool. Daunchy took a moment to settle himself before he started the fire. It had to burn hot and it had to burn long in order to craft his tool. With the fire properly set, he reached into his pack and withdrew the chunk of steel he had chosen for this life-changing task. He had found it under a stump that had rotted long ago, and underneath it revealed its treasure. It took just a gentle stroke to reveal the shine of what Daunchy hoped was a steel of great strength. What Daunchy did not know was that this steel was in fact pure silver, not known as a very hard steel at all. With tongs taken from his pack, he placed the silver in the heart of the fire to soften it. Daunchy could not remember anything that occurred after this. He only knew that it had to be finished by daybreak with urgency. Daunchy did work tirelessly forging his tool and feeding the fire that enabled his steel to be formed. Just as the sun broke the horizon, he fell to the ground, exhausted, and slept. "Son! Son! Can you hear me?" Daunchy stirred at the sound of his father's voice. Shaking his head, he said weakly, "I'm okay. I'm awake, Da. Give me a minute to see what I have made." Slowly standing, he noticed that the fire was out and as cold as the ground around him. "How long have I been asleep?" he asked hesitantly. The response he got from his father startled him. 5 days! How could that be? The longest anyone had spent in the cave after forging their tool was 3 days. What could this mean? Daunchy then looked to the anvil. There before him was a hatchet. Not just any hatchet, but a bearded hatchet. And not just any bearded hatchet, but a beautiful and clearly magical bearded hatchet. The handle was of oak, straight-grained from tip to tail. Engraved on the handle were the words Daunchy and Kong. The second word Daunchy figured was the name of his hatchet. Taking his tool in his hand, Daunchy felt strong and confident in the tool he had created. Staggering out of the cave, he blinked his eyes repeatedly to help them adjust to the dreary light that greeted him. It was raining, pouring actually. It was windy too, and there was thunder in the distance. It was going to storm. Looking up, Daunchy saw his father. His jaw hung open, and he looked like he had been crying. "What's wrong?" Daunchy yelled, to be heard over the storm that was gathering. "Da! What's wrong?" Weakly, his father said, "Welcome home, son." Huh? This is not my home. My home is with you and Ma and the rest of the tribe, Daunchy cried. His head slowly shaking, his dad said, no longer, son. This tool you have crafted, this hatchet, means you are to be a wanderer, a lover of nature and knowledge. You cannot come home with me, boy. This cave from this day forward will be home. Once again, Daunchy fell to his knees. This time, though, there were tears in his own eyes. Overcome with grief, his father had to run to him and embrace him. Sorrow was written on both faces. Anger, even rage, was etched in Daunchy's face alone. He was now possessed with such an anger that it was etched into Daunchy's very being, his soul. What would he become without his tribe, without his parents who imprinted their essence onto him? Their good and gentle spirits were as much a part of him as his own hair. He decided then and there that he would never love again. There was only rage, irresistible and uncontrollable rage. It was then, in that moment, that unforgivable moment, that Daunchy took his tool and slaughtered his greatest ally, his father. The end. Well, that's the end of the story. It was a little rushed, like I said. Writer's block's a tough thing. Lack of imagination sometimes. My editor was graduating from college, so she wasn't around very much. So I hope you liked the tale. Speaking of campfire tales, or tales around the campfire, coming up this week, I think it's on Thursday, the 31st, at Camp Sacandaga, that's the old 4-H camp, there's going to be a campfire with some tales. Jim will be there, the director of the camp, and I'll be there. We'll be telling stories, telling tales. I hope that you guys can join us. It's very family oriented. May even be some popcorn for the kids. Jiffy Pop. That's a great campfire snack. We'll probably have some of that there. Bring your own drinks. Bring your own bug spray. If it's nice out, we'll have a nice fire outside. If it's not nice out, we have the rec room that we can use. I've been in that room, in that building, and what a beautiful building it is. Lots of history there, lots of campers' history. Jim is a gifted storyteller. You would truly enjoy, I hope you would truly enjoy coming and sitting around our campfire. Again, that's at Camp Sacandaga, the old 4-H camp, on Thursday the 31st. We'll start at 6:30 and we'll end at 8:30. Bring your kids, bring your kids' friends. Let's start a new tradition in town. Let's start a new tradition of sitting around with friends in the community and telling tales. Don't forget